Hey, book babes. I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Peyton.
And today we are going through the 25 books that we need to read in 2025.
Yes, so just a cup of coffee as we dive between these paper sheets.
Let's do this.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. We are in a little
Hey.
bit of a new setup. Your girls got new mics.
We have
So
both hands, and it's
so we have
very
like
strange.
hello everyone. These are what both my hands look like. So hopefully we have no technical difficulties. Hopefully these are our voices are much more clear and gracing your ears, and it's a much more pleasant experience. But as always, our first few episodes we may have a little bit of difficulty, so bear with us. But hopefully this is for the betterment of the pod. So
Yes.
without further ado, welcome back. We're so happy you're here with
Yay.
us. We're like I would say like a second into 2025, so I feel like this is very fitting. Any of those new releases that we had to read in the Onyx Storm are kind of over, and now we're settling into our reading year. So
Yes.
this is a NS episode, which means no spoilers. So do not worry. We are merely going off vibes on these recs. We got you.
Yes. So we are going to go through the 25 books that we want to, need to, are forced to read. We're going to break it up into different categories as we go along to keep things interesting. But most of these are going to be new releases or perhaps a few oldies that we just never got around to reading. And we feel bad about it. So
Yeah.
we're putting it on our TBR now. Okay. But as a fantasy podcast, we have to kick it off with the 5 new fantasy books that we are going to be reading this year that are coming out this year.
Yes, I feel like Aubrey and I have been talking about especially these. I've actually added a sixth, low
Oh.
key, yeah, because I was putting in our non fantasy section. I'm like, well, fuck, like that's literally a fantasy book, and we're gonna get roasted in the comments. So anyways, I feel like we've
Yes.
talked a lot about these books. And so I feel like a broken record here, but we're just so damn excited. And if this is your
Yes.
first video you're watching of ours or your first episode listening to, welcome. This is what we're most hyped for this year.
Yes. Coming up first, we got to talk about The Night and the Moth. This is Rachel Gilling's new book. She wrote One Dark Window, the Dark Shepherd series that we will kind of maybe be talking about later. Um, but this new book, the cover alone has me sold. I saw the cover and I was like, I need to be reading that book today.
Oh, it's my probably most. It's funny this is number one on this pod because it's probably my most anticipated read of the year.
Yeah.
One, because it's probably my favorite cover next to the One Dark Window covers.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
so
I like it even better.
I know.
There's just something about the art style.
I don't do people on my front covers, but she slayed it with this
Killing it.
one.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited about this. People have been putting some conspiracies out there that this could be in the same universe as One Dark Window.
We're
I
people.
don't
I've
I don't
never seen a single other
I don't
person than us say this.
I don't know if it's Delulu in our head, but
Maybe.
watch it come true and you frippin' you
You'll
frippin'
know
heard it.
that the
You
hardcover podcast said that that was gonna fucking happen. If Blunder gets mentioned once.
once.
Yes.
I'm very excited for this one.
I love Rachel Gilling's like prose and writing style. It was the number one thing that drew me to One Dark Window, which is a gothic fantasy. The magic
Yes.
system was also super unique, so I'm excited to see where she takes this one. It's like a paladin type knight character whose goal is I'm pretty sure to kill a god. I'm pretty sure like the whole thing was like only a heretic can kill God.
Done.
So that's all I
Cue
need.
Mad Woman by Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Oh, and there was like a snippet released where she was like, "I don't know my name, but this is what I'm now called." I don't know. It was cool as fuck.
Done.
I'm sold. I'm sold already. I'm very excited. I will say the art for the new love interest, he looks a little ugly in the art, but we can work past that.
We can look past that. I've done that one too many times in my fantasy novels and feel horrible about it. All right, moving
Yes.
on. We just like this is new news.
Yeah,
New
we
news
just
here.
got the title.
Yeah, so Quicksilver 2, which Callie Hart, this kind of like took TikTok really by storm. This was an
Mhm.
indie published, or at least self-published,
Yeah.
really book by Callie Hart. And it is picked up for traditionally published. So it's really fun. So we're getting the hardcover Quicksilver new cover, and then like a month later or 2 months later we get
Mhm.
Brimstone. It's called Brimstone, everyone. Um,
Brimstone.
and it
I
just
think
got
that
picked
title's
up for
plays.
a Netflix show.
Oh, shit. I can see that,
Or movie, but I'm thinking it's a show, but I know it's
probably.
Netflix
But who
because
knows
I
if it'll
watched
ever
Callie
get
Hart's
done?
interview.
'Cause this
Yeah.
shit, I mean, so many things are getting done. When's the Red Queen TV series coming out? That's what I wanna know.
That's what I wanna know. Yeah, so Brimstone, we're picking up back on this crazy stories plot line.
Yeah, if you guys didn't read Quicksilver, it is long as fuck.
It's
It's a
so
little,
long.
like, overwritten, I'd say. I know we've said it before.
Absolutely.
I think you could cut, like, 20%, maybe 40% of the book and still have a great book, but it's following that, like, hero's journey of, like, girl from a poor area gets transported to the Fey realm, and she has the magic power to manipulate this special metal called Quicksilver, and she has to make weapons for the Fae against their fight war with the vampires.
Vampires. Yeah, it's like a the nicest way to put this, actually maybe not, a clusterfuck of traditional fantasy elements mixed with
Yeah,
like a little sci-fi kind of, and eh, like I don't know, just like the whole metal sort of, I don't know.
yeah.
And the worlds also are kind of explained sort of like dystopian, but like
Mhm.
renaissance at the same time. It is a wild
You know
story.
how people there's, like, a bunch of Tumblr posts talking about how when, like, dystopian was super popular when we were kids, that Divergent kind of ended the dystopian
Oh yeah.
genre because Divergent just distilled it down to its, like, truest essence, that there was
Yeah.
nowhere to go from there. That's kind of how I feel about Quicksilver. I feel like Quicksilver distills, like, the YA nostalgia and the Fae romance, the mated whatever, all down to their essence that, like, I didn't even like this book that much, but, like, I love talking about it. Like, it's just there. It just distilled.
That's so true. Like the trope conventions, the true like YA fantasy genre conventions, they are all there. Any type of trope you can imagine that you've seen in your favorite fantasy books, she finds a way of wiggling it into the story, and I think
Yep.
that's why it's so damn long. I'm curious how we're gonna keep the romance alive in this next
Yeah.
book. So regardless, I don't remember even too much about this book. All I know is I will be reading Brimstone, and
Yes.
I'm genuinely happy for Callie Hart. She seems
Mhm.
just like a genuine just writer,
Yeah.
and
Oh, I
I'm
saw an
happy.
interview with her, and she was like, "All my other books that I'd written, like, didn't really perform. They weren't doing well. I was feeling like, I guess, like, end of the road,
Beaten
whatever,
down.
of my
Yeah.
writing career." And she goes, "And so then I just wrote something that I love, and it popped the fuck off, and a lot of us loved it."
That's a
So
good lesson.
mhm.
Well, let's move on to a tried and
Yes.
true staple here in all elements of the reading community, and that
Yes.
is Our Lady R.F. Kuang, the queen herself, and
I love it.
Catabasis. We
I'm
just got this cover too. Just got
It's
released.
so pretty. It's so pretty. My favorite thing about this is I've read a lot of R.F. Kuang books, and I'm super excited. If Night in the Moth wasn't coming out this year, Calabasas would be my top most anticipated read. But is that R.F. Kuang said that she wants to jump back into the world of like Lewis Carroll or whatever, the guy who wrote Alice in Wonderland, and that's my favorite Disney princess. So I'm so excited.
I am always so intimidated by R.F. Kuang only
Yeah.
because of Babel. I haven't read Babel. I've read Yellowface, love Yellowface, very accessible writing. So I'm going into this like it's kind of like when you read Olivia Blake, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I need to be present. I need
Yeah.
to be locked the f in. R.F. Kuang, I'm curious to see how she's gonna take the spin on Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, so she wants to bring back nonsense literature. If you don't know what Calabasas is about, it's her first romantasy, and it's about two grad students who their like professor or whatever dies, and so then they decide to journey into hell to get the recommendation letter back from him.
Which is nonsense.
I'm so excited. People are like, I have to read the Dante's Inferno to prepare for this, so we'll see. I'm excited. I'm not reading Dante's Inferno, but pop off to you girlies who are reading. They have like a stack of books this tall. They're like, these are all the books you need to read to prepare
I'll
for
pass.
Calabasas. I think that's great. I have a stack of books this tall of other things I need to read than
Yes.
to prepare for a new book. But
They're all behind me right now. We're just trying our best. Right, so number 4, we have Bury Our Bones on the Midnight Soil. I believe this is by V. Schwab.
yes, I'm very excited. Do you know what this is about? Do you
No.
remember? Okay, so I believe,
I can
supposedly,
always check you too.
allegedly, this is about three different generations of witches, and they all get buried in the same like plot area, perhaps underneath a tree,
Okay.
and somehow that connects them, and somehow there's gonna be magic.
Yes.
Um,
There's not much here because I can. It's oh, this is the one in that one. It gave us
y-
like 3 sentences, and I was like,
yeah,
this is
it's
so
very
open
like
ended.
I think you're not supposed to understand what's going on to go into it, which perhaps is a bad marketing technique. And I think she's riding on people picking it up because they know her name, which is fair.
This is in V.E. Schwab fashion.
Hmm.
There's going to be 3 different point of views. One takes
Yes.
place in 1532, 1827, and then 2019, and maybe they all rise. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's 3 sentences, so I'll read it.
Hmm.
3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high, one grows deep, and one grows wild, and all of them grow teeth. I'm really excited for this.
It sounds like we're gonna get like vengeful, rageful, morally gray women.
Sanderson sisters.
Yes. I'm very excited. There's not much there, but I wonder if she set the modern girl in 2019 so she didn't have to deal with COVID. Because I would too. Honestly, anytime they even mention COVID in a book, I'm just like, I'm
It's
done.
such a turn off.
I'm putting this book down. That's a trauma point, okay?
Yeah, like I'm like, yeah. Okay, so I'm really excited about this next one.
Yes.
Wild Reverence
This is
by
so funny.
Rebecca Ross.
Yes, because we just did at the beginning of the year, like top 10 fantasy new releases coming out in 2025. And in that video, I was like, where's our girl Rebecca Ross? Why, like, when is Divine Rivals Letters of Enchantment series author going to gift us with another wonderful work? And then, like, 2 weeks later, it was announced.
This
So,
cover is like awesome.
yeah.
And it starts off I have no idea what this is about, and she gives a long blurb, so I won't read it. So please go and check for yourselves. But all you need to know
Hmm.
is that it is set in the world of the gods first introduced in Divine Rivals. So this is like a total prequel story. True love is
Interconnected.
more divine than any ruthless god.
Hmm.
So it looks like we're getting the story of Matilda, the youngest goddess of her clan, and her
Interesting.
journey throughout. In Ruthless Vows,
We learn
we
a little
really get to walk among the gods more, and it feels like
bit.
this is like just the story of the gods, which if you're a big fan of that series, it'd be really cool. I'm curious to see if I'll like it because I was kind of 50-50 on the whole series as a whole. So
Yeah. I
we'll
feel like
see.
with Divine Rivals, it was very like historical fiction,
Yeah.
prosy. And I feel like the fantasy was there, but it was like an F plot. So this one sounds like it's going to be a lot more fantasy heavy. So I wonder how the lip fit girlies are going to like
I
it.
know.
But we'll see. We'll see. I could see it taking like a Cersei vibe where you're like, yes, they're gods, but it's really about like the inner story.
Yes. Well, speaking of
Yes.
book covers we love and just fantasy, we're wrapping this up with this book that people will not stop
Are
talking
you
about.
excited about this book?
No, but I
Okay.
I want to be a part of the hype, girl. And so this is
I saw you put that
Alchemized.
down. I was like,
This is
okay.
Alchemized by Sen Yu. Everyone's
Yes.
posting this. This like
This
book
is
cover I cannot get out of my mind because
you like it?
everyone's been posting it. Do you know what it looks like?
Yeah, but everyone's bitching about the font. I think the image is fine, but I think the font is ugly.
Well, my thing is like
Okay.
from a graphic design point of view,
Yeah.
I love that there's like nothing on the cover but these I'll show everyone. Hopefully this focuses.
Yes,
Um
it just focused.
uh, okay, so the two fonts are
Mhm.
like a little different. It's the color. It's
No.
just I add some gold foiling, bitch. Like, I don't know, like, make it more, like,
They could have
exciting.
done better. This is
The thing
by
is, I love simple design, so I'm kind
yeah.
of like,
I
"Okay,
don't
like,
know. Here's
the
what it
font
feels like
is
to
too
me.
boring."
It feels like someone had a really good image, and then they uploaded that image into Canva and just added 2 random text to it.
Honestly, or Microsoft or, like, Word, a
Yeah.
Word document.
And
No,
what's kind of
absolutely.
embarrassing about it is that this is the author who wrote Manacled. If you don't know, that is god tier Hermione Draco fanfic out there on AO3. It's probably gonna get taken down soon, would be my guess, because Victoria Aveyard has said that when you become a published author, your fanfic has to disappear. So, I don't know if the rules have changed since Victoria Aveyard broke in 2015, but I'm pretty sure Alchemized is going to be manicured, reskinned to self-publish, kind of like the After, kinda like 50 Shades of Grey, kinda like Twilight, like, we have a lot of
Oh.
fanfic that has
Well,
become
I definitely
own.
think she's getting a lot of push 2 things.
Okay.
1, I was thinking about it. When I first saw this cover, I thought, you know how Calabasas, how they're, like, cover like, they just put it on, like, a blank thing and it's just a Calabasas, it wasn't the cover,
That was the
and
art,
for a
yeah.
second, we were all like, "That's not the cover, right?" No, it's
Mhm.
just, like, the cover to like, to be revealed.
Yeah.
When they announced, Alchemized, I thought this was the, like, to be
The holder.
revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say there's the description, it says, "This stunning hardcover edition will feature a deluxe jacket with gold foil on the front and a full color illustration on the reverse, gorgeous designed end papers, a gold
Mm.
foil case stamp from the
They're like,
acclaimed
"We know the
artist
cover is
Avedon."
ugly,
Like,
we've got other stuff."
they're like they're like, "Wait, hold on. It's gonna look cool once it's in your hands."
I
Anyways,
promise you.
what is it you think you're protecting in that brain of yours? The war is over. Holdfast is dead. The eternal flame extinguished. There's no one left for you to save. It looks like a prisoner's
Uh-huh.
story, some
Yeah.
resistance.
That's the plot of Manacled.
Her resistance friends and allies have been brutally murdered, her ability to suppress in the world she knew destroyed. Everyone won't shut up about this book. So,
Yes.
it's
I'm
on there. It
excited.
comes
I
out in
have not
September.
read the fanfic. I know Peyton hasn't either. I don't
No.
know if you knew about the fanfic, to be
No, I
fair.
knew about Manacle.
Okay.
I knew
Yeah.
about that, but I was never like, "Oh my god, have you read?"
Have you read I was gonna read Manacled, but now I don't have to, because 'cause I'll just read the
No, we'll
traditionally
just read
published
the
one.
traditionally published version. Less,
Alright.
hopefully more editing done.
Yes. Okay, we are now going to jump into
Yay!
a new section. We're gonna talk about some non-fantasies
Yes.
before for just a little bit, because we like to dabble in other genres.
Yes, we do.
And I think this is almost all romance by other genres is what we mean. We do not ever mean nonfiction.
We love being balanced in a very one-sided way.
Yeah. It's like, here's some balance to our fantasy romantasy reads.
Just some romance.
Romance. It's a nice palate
It
cleanser
is a
in
nice palate
between.
cleanser. After all the world building, I'm like, "Wait, what happened in that book 3, like, world
Yeah.
builds ago?" Like, it's nice. So, I'm of course, like, we have
Every other
become
bitch.
we have become such Emily Henry bitches, and, like,
Mhm.
it's a good place to be, let's just
Yeah.
say that. But great oh my god. Big wait, no. Great
Yes.
Big Beautiful Life. I had it right the first
Mhm.
time. Why'd you do this, M. Hem? That is a horrible title, and we will be reviewing this book, and I'm going to mess it up. Let's just call it the GBBL.
Oh, BBL.
Anyway,
That's
so this is
unfortunate.
about two writers, so kind
Mhm.
of like reminiscent maybe of like book lovers, how they were both like in the publishing
Yeah.
industry. They compete for the chance to tell the larger than life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve in this dazzling and sweeping new
Mm.
novel from Emily Henry. Okay, so
Sounds like another, like, Rivals to Lovers,
it's
which
a
Em
rivals to
does
lovers.
great.
Like, we are going to write this memoir or
Mhm.
biography about this woman, and maybe there's some tension.
Maybe fuck along the way.
Buck along the way, big yeah, definitely a
There's going to be
rivals.
forced proximity, I'm calling it now. I mean, obviously, because they're interviewing this author, she's probably like, "You can come stay at my house," and then they're, like, in rooms across the hall from one another.
Yeah,
Because
and yeah.
Emhem loves forced proximity. That is
Every
her,
one of
like,
her books
bread and
has it.
butter. Yes.
Doesn't even matter if they're enemies to love like, or friends to love, there will be forced proximity, she will
Yes.
make sure of it. Um, yeah, so I'm really excited for that. April can't come
Mhm.
like soon enough. Okay, Aubrey, you want to tell us about this next one?
Yes, so I've actually already finished this next one. I hadn't when we made the list, but Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. Get ready to get wet is the like slogan.
Oh
This
God.
is Allie Hazelwood's steamiest novel. Okay, we are following a diver and a swimmer. They're college students at Stanford. And basically, our main girlie is teammates with this girl named Pen. And Pen is like your perfect, like popular sweetheart kind of gal. And she's like, guys, my man is into some weird shit. He he wants to do like kinky stuff. And Pen is out of her mind. She's like, I cannot do this. So Scarlett, our main girl, she then later pulls Penn aside and is like, "Hey, like I'm into kinky stuff if you want to talk to someone about it." Well, then Penn and her boo break up. They go on a little
Naturally.
pause, and Penn is like, "You two should fuck. You're into the same stuff. Why don't you two fuck?"
Oh my
And the
God.
story takes off from there. This is
Okay.
supposed to be her like 50 Shades book, okay? This is supposed to be her hottest book ever. It is interconnected to her, Reylo fanfic, Love Hypothesis,
And that's
whatever.
speaking of 25 and 25, that's the one book I feel guilty of not like I never read.
I don't. I don't feel guilty.
I heard it
But
sucks, but now we are reading Allie Hazelwood a lot. I'm like, well, what am I
yeah,
missing out? But
so maybe.
so they're
Also, they
connected in like what way? In the same like
and
world?
characters show up.
Oh shit.
Because I was reading it, and we haven't read that book. We've only read Bride and her Christmas novella, and I
Yeah,
was like, something suspicious is going on here. Why are we describing this random side character like this?"
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
was like, "There's a little bit too much detail. We're talking about Post-it notes, like, I'm confused." And so I
Mm.
Googled the side character's name, and it was like, "The main love interest in Love Hypothesis."
Oh, we got
So
aired. Just or we didn't air it, like, we're like, "Who the
yes.
fuck are these people?" It's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
they're just, like, the biggest names in Ember and the Ashes." It's like,
Yep.
"Cool, fuck me."
It's exactly like that because 'cause I'm staying with these characters for a bit, and, like, we keep bringing them back up, and I'm just like, "I don't give a fuck about
I don't know what
Dr.
the fuck you
Olivie."
want.
Like, I
That's
didn't
fair.
read the fanfic.
So if you love the Love Hypothesis, Deep End is going to be your, like, "Let's go."
Yeah, and honestly, I was joking. I like to make light, but it didn't distract that much from my
Yeah.
reading experience. I'd still read Deep End. Peyton's going to. We're gonna
Yes.
potentially review it soon.
Yes.
I'd love to hear Peyton as a non-smutty
I
reader's
don't love
thoughts
smut.
on
Yes,
this.
I love a vanilla level of smut. So we will see. And if it's anything like the Christmas novella, I am in for a treat. And so is my fiance. Okay, so next one.
Yes.
I don't know.
I remember when they marketed this. Isn't this already out?
It says March 25th.
Hmm. Well, she stopped marketing it. I remember when she was marketing it.
Mhm.
Anyways, we have Summer in the City by Alex Astor, who wrote the
Light
Lightlark
Lark.
series. That controversy was supposed to be a trilogy, and the third book came out in the fall, and it was not the end of the series. And
Oh,
girlies were
okay, that's
pissed.
I've heard of Light Lark, and I
Mhm.
remember there being some controversy, and I didn't know if it
There's
was good or bad, but we
no, there's a
hear
bunch.
they, like, blueballed the whole reading community.
Uh-huh. Can
Alex
you
did.
imagine going into what you think's the finale and then realizing that there's gonna be more books?
That's a lot.
She
Been there.
also the book got, picked up to be made a movie before it was even published, and so she relies so heavily on the fact that it's going to be made into a movie to promote it, and I heard the writing's, like, fine. I mean, it's probably the level of, like, Assistant to the Villain. Like, we have a lot of these new upcoming romantasy books where, like, you can tell that the author was on Book Talk and then
Yeah.
decided to write their thing, and, like, writing wasn't their passion. Storytelling might have been, but writing wasn't.
Yeah, I just looked up the cover because 'cause I've seen it before.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that's a unique name. So Summer in the City
Yes.
is fake dating your enemy can't be that hard. right?
Mm.
Discover the charms of the city life and fall in love with this summer romance. Okay, so it's a fake dating, enemies to
Mhm.
lovers plot that takes place in the city. Cool. If
Here's
you're
my
into that,
thing,
yeah,
real quick. I think enemies to lovers and contemporary romance shouldn't exist. Like,
but
you can be
everyone loves it.
rivals, but no.
Yes,
No one in real life has an
is
enemy. Who's your
enemies.
enemy, Peyton? Who's
No
your
one.
enemy?
I don't got enemies, but I do have
No
rivals.
one does.
But rivals, this is the thing I
Yeah,
like about rivals. Rivals
yeah,
means there's shared history of some kind, and that makes it more like there's more tension of like,
yeah.
oh, we grew up together, or like we don't. Yeah, you don't have true
Mhm.
enemies.
No, it's just like, mispromising the stakes of the story, but we'll see how
Yeah,
she does as a fantasy writer.
that's true. All right. Well, I'm very excited for this next one, as I'm sure this book already has a fucking movie deal. Number our number 5 for our non fantasy is
Yes.
Taylor Jenkins Reid's new story, Atmosphere, a love story. That's what it's called, Atmosphere, a love story. It comes out June 3rd,
Mhm.
and this book is okay. It's about one innovative space shuttle program,
Okay.
6 astronauts, and an endless universe. Okay.
That doesn't
So
sound
I
anything
was
like her
reading,
other books.
yeah.
Okay.
So we're going into space. We're doing putting on our spacesuits. This is like the Daisy Jones and the Six version, like
Mm,
in space.
in space.
We'll see.
Drama
I do
in
not like
space.
this cover. I texted
I
my
haven't
my
seen it.
cousin is a book designer,
Yeah.
and like a cover she just does graphic design, and I was like, I do not like this book cover.
And she's like,
she
"I
was
did
like
it."
she's like it's just in style to put like a woman with
Oh.
glasses on and just like
Oh,
Photoshop.
there's
I
a
was like,
little rocket in the lens.
no, it is not it. I do
Mm.
not like it.
And actually, I bet it'll look cool next to the Carrie Soda is back.
Yeah.
The covers look
But
identical.
I'm like, I already saw this. Like, I already
Yeah.
saw this.
No, I
But her
agree.
covers have turned into this more like very poppy. I don't know.
Well, there's an alternative.
Yeah, I'll
It's kinda
probably get an
ugly too.
alternative. I liked Seven Husbands. I liked Malibu Rising. The more I look at it, I'm fine. I just hate people on my covers.
Yeah. No, I agree. Oh, did you know the drama about this one?
Atmosphere?
Listen, I can only bring drama to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, Aubrey catches me up on the
No.
drama.
Okay, I didn't know the name of the book, but I know that when she released that she was having a new book come out, right? The girlies got excited, as they would. Oh
Yeah.
wait, no, never mind. It wasn't. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was TJR or who wrote Normal People.
Sally Rooney. So
Yeah.
intermezzo?
It was one of those 2. Yes, I think it was Sally Rooney now, who, like, the girlies got excited, and she was like, "I don't wanna be a book talk book. I hate that they're making me genre. I hate
That's
my
definitely a
fans."
Sally Rooney. Like, this
Yeah,
bitch doesn't
and
even
it's
use
like, "Shut
commas
up. I'm sorry. People
or
are enjoying your
quotations.
work."
She didn't use quotations. So, like, yeah, she
Yeah.
just wants to be different. Um, I
It's
I can't not
epitome of
like
not like other
TJR
girls.
definitely, like, everything she touches turns to gold
Yeah.
just because of her name, and
Mhm.
Emily Henry's similar. Sally Rooney is very, like, "I want to be indie," but she
Yeah.
literally the minute she puts her name
She
on anything, it sells.
she wants to be in the lit fic world. Like, she
Yeah,
wants to be with those bitches that none of us have heard of because we're not a part of that world. Like,
yeah.
the people who call genre fiction, like, genre fiction, and they'll be like, "You can be literary or you can be genre,"
It's like
and
it's
look down at their
Jack
noses. That's
Edwards.
exactly where Sally Rooney is.
Yeah, it's very Jack Edwards.
Yes.
Someone who's like is like, I have a doctorate in literature. It's like, congratulations. I have a book podcast where we talk about sex a lot. Like, I don't know. Um,
Well,
there's
I
there
would want our podcast over his, so maybe
yeah,
his
there
following, but
yeah, I know. I watch it. I love you, Jack. I love your videos,
I
but
don't. He said he didn't like the Crow Prince, and then he
that's
said
I
something
know.
about oh, and I didn't like the way he organized his books, so
I am the only and honestly, it's so funny we said this because let's move on to
okay.
picks that I have for
Yes.
Aubrey. And my first one was actually recommended by Jack Edwards.
Fuck. So, real quick, guys, we are going to now for the next 10 books. Peyton's going to give me 5 books that she wants me to read, and then I'm going to give 5 books that I want her to read because we're forcing each other. That's the name of love, is when you force your friend to read the book that you want them to read.
Yes, we love pressuring each other. So, Jack Edwards actually years ago
Okay.
was like obsessed with this book. It was one of the videos where he read books people were reading on the London
Mm.
Underground or subway,
Tube?
whatever they
The
call it.
tube?
The tube. Anyways, and Hamnet was one of them. And so
You talk about
Maggie
this one a lot.
O'Farrell, she's known for like the wedding portrait or whatever. That was really popular, but Hamnet's one of her biggest ones. I think because Aubrey has a creative writing minor and because she is can respect good writing,
Mhm.
I'm really curious to hear what she thinks about this book. It's not that long. Long story short, if you live underneath a rock, Hamnet is a Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare's life story told from Anne Hathaway's perspective, his wife. And in the book, they call her Agnes, and it's about their son Hamnet. And we all, if you know anything about Shakespeare, Hamnet died when he was very young, and then he wrote Hamlet from like out of that
Yeah.
grief. Anyways, it is a very feminist book.
Slay.
It is very well written.
Mhm.
Shakespeare is never named by, he's just the husband. So she takes all autonomy and strips it from that man.
I love that.
And we kind of like see what it was like, her life from her. I don't know. It's really good. Her raising the
Mhm.
twins. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I think Aubrey would really like
Sounds
it.
good.
So much that like I was like highlighting shit. So Hamnet. All right, what do
Hamnet.
you got for me?
I've got one that I know you're interested in because you bought it or asked for it for Christmas.
Yes.
I have Immortal Dark by Tika
Ooh.
Gurma. I know that Peyton wants to read this because when I shared what it was about, I got her interested. And sometimes when we do book recommendations back and forth and we're talking about books that only one of us has read, the other person's like, yeah, sure.
It's
And like
cool.
we're just sitting there. But this one, I watched Peyton's face go,
Mm.
mm. And I really liked it. I will say, out of my list, this is one that I think I would still, after you read it, I think I'm still gonna like it more than you. But it is like dark academia vampires, and it deals with the themes of like absolution and like what is evil truly. And it starts off with our main character like losing her fucking mind because she just killed someone. It's very good. It gave me Catholic vibes, like, just in the, like, trauma, and I know that can relate to you, so I think
Yeah.
you'll have some personal relating points.
I loved the true gothic energy the book's giving. It's right
Yes.
there. I have it. And I texted Aubrey. I'm like, do we have to read any books for the podcast before I jump into this one? And I do.
And I
We're
said,
gonna
"Yes,
read
Allie Hazelwood's
we're
Deep
reading
End."
the Alley Hazel. It's a be a good palate cleanser though, so I
Yeah.
can go into more of like the deep dark vampire. That's what you said. It
Yes.
was like a vampire family, like compound almost, and there's like different houses.
Yeah, like, all throughout, and the houses have, like, magical powers to them, and so the house
Yeah.
is, like, almost sentient, and her family basically, the girl escaped from the vampire society. Their parents had them escape. She's a twin or just has a sister. I don't know. Maybe just a sister. And they escaped when they were young, like it's giving Vampire Academy. But now her sister is missing. And so she's joining back into the vampire society to try to find her sister. And the house, which is supposed to be like a family heirloom, was given to the house like the vampire instead of like the human family who's supposed to own it. Like she would get the house, but she has to stay in the house for so long to claim ownership back from the vampire.
Spooky shit
And the
happens.
vampire's like, "I don't fucking want you here. I want the fucking magic house to myself." So,
I'm really excited to
very
read it.
good.
So I'll be reading that very soon and then maybe we'll give
Yes.
a book review on it. All right.
Next.
So, going off of non-fantasy, I will forever recommend this. This is Malibu
Mhm.
Rising. I just got the hard copy of this from Julie, one of our
Yes.
book club friends for Christmas. I listened to the audiobook of this, and honestly, I would recommend listening to the audiobook of this.
Mm.
This, as TJR is known to do, is kind of an interconnected story, but
Yeah.
nothing that will like throw you off.
Yeah.
So basically, Mick Riva, who is seen in Seven Husbands, and
Mhm.
then who's seen in Daisy Jones and the Six, he is the father of these four children that this story is about. And it takes place in the 80s in like LA Malibu, and just
Malibu.
sex and drugs and raising yourself and just a complicated childhood with having a superstar dad that's never there.
Mhm.
Um, it's found family, but then also like repairing family.
Okay.
Um, and it takes place all at one party that they have, and shit goes down, and it is crazy, and I highly recommend it. Oh, I found my sticker in here.
My batteries are probably so bad because I let them die. Like you're supposed to with batteries. I know at least for phones, so I'm sure for all batteries, like never let it completely die because then it never will charge back up to the same like
Right.
whatever. And I let my camera batteries die all the time.
Mine, I let charge for too long, and I think
Oh
that's
yeah, that
gonna
too.
fuck them up.
Okay. Very exciting. Especially like maybe I'll pick that one up come like spring, summer.
Yeah, I think you should read during the summer. I think
Yeah.
you'd really enjoy it. But like Aubrey's also an audiobook girly with me, so like maybe
Yes.
listen to it.
Yeah. Next up, we have one that I think you're going to really enjoy. We have Heartless Hunter,
Oh
okay?
yes.
Also known as Crimson Moth if you're in the UK. This is like a true YA fantasy, okay? We have our main girl, and she does magic with her period blood.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
So basically, the magic system in this is that the witches have to use blood for their magic, which is kind of one of the reasons that they're like hunted and killed at the moment because some witch is going around and like just killing people to get the freshest, strongest magic to do like the craziest spells, right? But our bitch is a good witch, so she just uses her period blood.
That is wild.
Straight from the source, you know? No painless, or at least no extra pain? I don't know. Anyways, so she is living in this, like, society where witches used to be, like, the queens, and then they got overthrown, and now the witches are, like, hunted and killed, and she actually had to turn in her grandma as a witch, and her grandma was, like, executed in, like, front of her to in order to pass off that she was not a witch because at the time she wasn't, but then she became a witch like with puberty or whatever. And she's trying to find a boo. She's trying to find a husband who is powerful enough to give her information, to be manipulated into giving her information in order to help save the other witches of the kingdom who are still out there. Like that's her main goal is to stop them from getting killed. She ends up romancing her best friend's brother, and her best friend, of course, is in love with her because it's a
Her
YA book. We
best
need to have
friend.
that love triangle. She ends up romancing the best friend's brother, who is like the top captain of the witch hunters. And they are both like, it's kind of giving 10 Things I Hate About You vibe, where they're
How
both
I
like
love that
on to
movie.
each other
It's my favorite movie.
because she knows he's a witch hunter and he suspects her for being a witch. And so they're both being like edged on by each other, by like their like friends to continue a relationship to get stuff out of each other. So very good. Book two comes out this year. So I want you to read this
So we can
before
do
book
book
two comes
two.
out. So that way we can talk about book two together.
My best friend's brother, it's the
The
one
one
for
for
me.
me.
Um, okay. Well, we are going to back it up here with some fantasy.
Yes.
I like the book better than the jacket. So, this is this is A Study in Drowning. Um,
Which I actually own. And I owned before Peyton, but I never read it.
yes, I
He
know it's so
convinced me to
funny.
actually pick this book off my bookshelf.
This is so funny because Aubrey got this 2 Christmases ago for
Yeah.
book club, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I've seen that before. I love that title." And then
Yeah.
for Christmas this year, I asked for it and I got it, and it's, like, so funny that Aubrey had this book first and now I get to recommend it to her. I'm like,
My bad.
anyways, this book I think Aubrey will like more than I did.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
it is it is an interesting story.
Mhm.
Um, it's a kind of like a classist society. There's a North and a
Okay.
South, and the Southern people are known for these like kind of like old folk stories or tales that the North are like, haha, it's like Bigfoot, like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not true.
Yeah.
But down like the Southern people are like, no, this is very true. There is also some like magical backstory that we're like even by the end of the book you don't really understand. I found
Hmm.
out that there's actually a book two.
Can
So
I tell you
I
that?
no, I looked it up because I was like,
A Theory in Dreaming.
yeah,
I
I
put
did
it
not
in
know
our
that.
calendar.
Really?
I think so.
Okay. Well, anyways, there's a book two coming out,
Okay,
which
yeah.
by the last line in this book, yeah, I was like, I finished the book. I'm like, is there gonna be a book two? Because what the fuck was that?
But
Anyways,
it took a while. I mean, Study in Drowning's been out for a hot minute.
absolutely. Yeah.
'Cause she wrote
So,
that, like, what, Macbeth or something in between?
yeah. Our main character, Effie, she gets these like hallucinations and
Ooh.
like she like self-medicates with these like pink pills that like stop the hallucinations. She's basically running away from this thing called the Fairy King that's like coming to claim her because when
Hmm.
she was a child, her mother like offered her up and he came to like
Cool.
take her and then her mother decided actually no you can't have her and he took one of her fingers and said, I will be back. And so for her whole life, she's now in college. She's the only woman in the architectural college, which is right below the literature college, which women are not allowed in. So she basically was
Yes.
like, I will be in architecture, but she doesn't give a fuck about architecture. Anyways, this whole society is kind of praised on books and each kind of like civilization like the north and the south have their own
Yeah.
like acclaimed authors. And the south the southern person who's acclaimed that author she's obsessed with and she gets the opportunity to go and fix up his house on like the side of a cliff because she's an
Of
architectural
course.
student. Well, it turns out
Wow.
this author died a couple months beforehand, but his son is the one that rules the estate. So shit goes crazy. The Fairy King is still well and alive, and we try to like figure out what that means. Because to us, this is like Beauty and the Beast story.
Yeah.
It's like loving the story Beauty and the Beast, and sometimes you see the Beast, and then you go for this job, this like internship opportunity, and you actually see the fucking Beast, and you're like, wait, anyway, so it's crazy. There is romance in this story because she just so happens to go to this place and this
Oh
this
my
this guy from
god.
the literature college is writing a memoir
Who would
on
have thunk?
the author. Which, is it a hit piece? Who knows? So this story is like really packed with a lot of stuff. There's only 17 chapters and every fucking chapter is long.
Shit.
So you need to be prepared when you read the chapters that you are reading a chapter a day.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too long winded with this, but I think Aubrey's gonna like it much more than me, and that is why I'm putting it on this list because I know that she will be on this one as soon as she can.
It sounds very good. Yes, that
Yes, I
actually
think you're
sounds
gonna
a
love it.
lot better than the vibes that I had gotten from it. I read the first page and I was like, I actually have other
Low
things to
key,
read.
the main character is kind of a whiny bitch, but it's YA, and she's
Yeah.
young, and I didn't really love. I gave the book 3.5 stars, but the
Mhm.
acknowledgement is really what really got me. That Ava Reed put in her acknowledgments like
Yeah.
Zelda, I believe you because S. Scott Fitzgerald is known for stealing Zelda Fitzgerald's
Dirty thief.
maiden name Sayer, which the main character in this book's last name is Sayer. So she took that like
Oh,
historical
cute.
piece and like put it in basically history now.
Mhm.
Um, and of course, in this book, there's some sort of plagiarism going on, and we have to figure out what that means. So she like incorporated this like real
Yeah.
like Zelda Fitzgerald was like coined this crazy
Mhm.
woman and like lobotomized, and like in this book, she's kind of like I don't know. She's just kind of
Yeah,
part
I
of it now,
love
which I thought
Zelda.
was really cool, and I'm like, maybe this is 4 stars now because, like, go
No,
women.
honestly, that's a selling point for me. I wanted to be Zelda Fitzgerald so bad, and in the Gilmore Girls, Lorelai gets proposed to by Max, Rory's one teacher from Chilton, with Zelda Fitzgerald's, like, original ring or whatever, and I was like, "I want
Yeah.
that ring." I was so obsessed with
I
her. The
just thought it was so
original
cool she, like, took her maiden name
Yeah,
and made it
that's
her
cute.
I don't know. So, anyways, highly recommend. That was long-winded, but yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay. Next up, I have a book that I haven't read yet, but I want Peyton to read with me when it comes out. And I don't think Peyton's going to be very excited to read it. So I'm trying to like pull her string and say, no, you're going to read it, girl. And that is the new Hunger Games book, Sunrise on the Reaping.
I do love Hey Mitch, but
There
I
you
feel like I would
go.
have been more inclined to read the,
The other
like
one, Songbirds and Ballads
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, than this one, but
But
maybe.
think about it. Think about it.
I
Everyone
think
else
it'll
is
be a
gonna
good
be reading
podcast
it.
episode.
Yeah. That's literally here's my thing is I didn't read, Songbirds and Ballads or whatever,
A ballad of
and
songbirds and
I
snakes. Okay.
yes, yes, that's it. Obviously, I haven't read it, and I felt so bad and guilty the whole time because all the other bitches are on TikTok talking about it, and
Yeah,
then
I
we went to see it in
agree.
the theaters, and I couldn't be annoying bitch and be like, "Actually, in the books,
Actually,
I
the book
wanna
was
be that
better
person." And the movie date's already released as well, so I want for us
to be a part
to
of
be a
the
part of it.
So, wait, there's the movie's already happening?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it got
god.
announced with the book. Of course.
Of
Who's
course.
not gonna make a Hunger Games?
Yeah, like what? She's gonna write a new book and they're not gonna make
And
a
they're
movie?
gonna be like, "No." It's also supposed to be a dig at Trump and fake news. So
Done. Done.
sold,
We're doing what
sold.
JK Rowling would never. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Okay, my next one is because I got
Yes.
Aubrey to read Riley Sager last year,
Mhm.
and she, like, kind of liked that
Yeah.
book. So I
Especially
think
now that I've read other thrillers, I didn't realize how good that one was because it was my first, like, thriller mystery.
yeah, Riley Sager, like, it's one of a kind. Like, I can't
Yeah.
read any like, if someone's like, "Read this mystery, this thriller," I'm like, "I like Riley Sager." Like, I'm anyway, so this book, the only one left,
Oh, its cover is so pretty.
it is the best cover ever. Um, I, like, tabbed, like, I highlighted I have a plot board somewhere in my apartment over this
Yeah.
book. I will die on this hill for this book, okay? I love this book. It is so freaking good. It's better than any other Riley Sager book I ever read.
Yeah.
Aubrey's going to love the imagery and like the setting of this book because it's kind of gothicy about a daughter who woke up one day and her whole family was killed. Like it's a mystery. Like some of them were brutally murdered, some of them
Yeah.
were like hanging by a rope, which seemed like a suicide. Like and it's just her and some crazy shit happens and like I can't even go into what this mystery is because it is such a mind fuck by the end of the book.
Yeah.
You're like, I would have never guessed that. Long story, the main character is this like home nurse that comes to take care of Lenora Hope, the main character, the girl whose whole family died. She's really old now. And so she's like taking care of her until like like a hospice nurse kind of,
Yeah.
like, "I'm a live-in nurse, I'm here if you fall, I'm here to make sure you get your medicine, blah, blah, blah." Well, while this bitch is there taking care of Lenora in her wheelchair, crazy shit starts happening, and it is hitting a lot closer to home than she thinks. It takes place in Maine on a cliffside, and it is moody as fuck. And
Love it.
I highly recommend it, and Aubrey must read it. She can have this copy. But don't you want this? Is beautiful looking. This
Yeah.
would
No,
work on
I
a
do want it.
fantasy shelf.
I would never mix genres like that.
Yeah, she's like, I would never mix
I was
genres.
like,
You
you had me, you lost me.
put this on your fantasy shelf. She's like, that is not right. Anyways, I love
Yes.
it.
All right. Next up, I have Caraval by Stephanie Garber. There's a bit of a story to this one because speaking of picks, and Peyton does not have this on her list, but Peyton
But it's
really
right
wanted
there.
to read Once Upon a Broken Heart or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yep, that's right.
That's that trilogy. She wanted to read it so bad that I was like, absolutely, girlfriend. I bought the books. I think I made a little TikTok talking about how I was going to read the damn book. And that is when my sister texted me, who read the books and was like, you know that's a sequel series,
Which is stupid, by the way.
which is stupid. And no, she did say you don't have to read them,
But I will have to.
but we're going to want to because here's the kicker. Caraval, this is my hardcover copy because I bought the trilogy, but I have the paperback of this right over there in my living room because I had borrowed Caraval from my sister months ago, telling because I wanted to read the recommendation from her, and she was like, "That's a sequel series to the book I lent you and you never fucking read." So I was embarrassed.
Yeah, he
And
stabbed himself
as
with a
my
foot.
last book of 2024, I audiobooked the entire thing because I had to do it at like 3x speed to actually finish in time. There's a vlog. It's
Yeah,
embarrassing,
there's a vlog. Go
honestly.
watch it.
But after I finished Caraval, I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I immediately was like, Peyton's gonna love this. Which is good because you're the one who was initially interested in this author's works for the sequel series.
Right.
Caraval is centered. Okay, so we're in this Spain fantasy world, okay? Spain inspired. And this girl, Scarlett, our main character, and her sister Tella live on this tiny little island, and their dad's a governor or something. And he's an asshole who beats them, okay? And so all they want to do is escape the island and get away. And so Scarlett's got a plan. She's going to marry some count from a different island. But Tella's got a different plan because in this world, there's this thing called Caraval. And basically, it is this like combination of what feels like Alice in Wonderland plus like trials mystery
Okay.
magic game. Basically, there's this guy who's called Legend, and he is this like mythical, like almost like the Wizard of Oz type character, okay? And every year he hosts this game called Carnival throughout their like islands and like Spain like country whatever. And at the game, magic becomes like real because there isn't magic other places that I've noticed yet. They're like it's like a fancy world where like, oh, there used to be gods, but now there's not. And you go to compete in this game, and in the game, everything is designed to fuck with you. Everything is designed to just like give you a wonky, weird ass experience. There's actors, and you don't know who are Legends actors or not. And they're
Oh.
there to manipulate the game. And the game's different every year, but it's usually like a mystery of some type. And the person who wins the game gets to have a wish. And they get to wish for one thing, and then it will magically happen. And so Scarlett and Tella go, and then Tella disappears. And now Scarlett has to win the game to find her sister.
Kinda like Hunger Gamey a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not like death, but like it is like
Yeah.
brutal, and the world building gets deeper, and I don't want to spoil any of the world building yet, but I just loved the setting, and like right away, Scarlett gets this, and this is what I feel like Alice in Wonderland inspired, because there's all these wonky shops that they go to visit, kind of like the Mad Hatter shop, if you've seen, like, the Looking Glass where there's, like, the flashbacks.
Yeah.
But then also Scarlett gets this dress, and it's a magic dress from, I think, Legend, and it, like, changes depending on, like, its own, like, minor sentience. So, basically, like, she's flirting with this guy, and the dress will suddenly become, like, low cut and tight, and then she'll be doing something else, and it'll, like, change into, like, whatever fits the situation, but she doesn't have control over it. Like, it's just, like, those, like, little, like,
But
whimsical, wonky
yeah, you
things.
wouldn't even think of, like, "I'm gonna create a magical dress."
Yeah, so it's really good. I'm on the 2nd book now, and it's taken an interesting turn. So I've been audiobooking it, but I think you'd really love it either way.
Yeah, we are like, I committed us to 6 books very
Yeah,
fast
you really
just
did.
by wanting to read 1. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I'm really excited. Aubrey got me the box set, so
Yes.
we will it's a like, Caravel is one of those things, like, was so popular, like, 3 years ago, and we're, like, only
Mhm.
hopping on now, but we're just, like, happy to be here.
Yeah.
Alright, my last recommendation for
Yes.
Aubrey is Mexican Gothic. I put that on our sheet because I can't think of one, and I already gave it to her.
I've
Mexican
had this
Gothic
for, like,
is
over a year.
yeah, is a 50s Mexico
Yes.
like a 50s Mexican inspired sort like I wish they had the front cover like the inner is
Yeah,
because it
it's
would
so
have
pretty.
yeah, it is about this woman who has a sister who married this very affluent white family outside of Mexico City. And she never hears from her sister anymore and she's starting to get worried. And so she tells her dad, "Dad, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go and visit her and see what the hell is going on." And this
Okay.
woman, like our main character already is like kind of like lost and trying to figure out what she wants in life, blah blah blah. She goes to this house and they're very much like prim and proper. This is the way things need to be, but this house is like falling apart. It's gross on the inside, it smells.
Mm.
She wants to smoke. She's a smoker and they're like, "No, you can't smoke in here." But she's like, "But this place is a actual dumpster fire." Like she goes to like she's smoking one day in her room without telling anyone.
Yeah.
She goes to, like, open the window and, like, she can't open the windows. And, like, there's just little things that keep on happening, and she
Mhm.
keeps on saying, "Can I visit my sister? Your sister's not feeling well. Can I visit my sister? Your sister's not feeling well." "Okay, well, where the hell's my sister?" She eventually
Mhm.
sees her sister, and her sister's, like, out of it. And the longer this woman's inside this house, she starts losing her fucking mind. And she's like, "What's going
Sad.
on?" And all I have to say is the ending of this book is so fucking weird. Like, it is so weird that I was never expecting what happens. Like, Aubrey, you'll be a little creeped out. But it's one of those books it's very gothic. Like, it's very
Yeah.
true to the but, like, spit like, Mexic it's I hate to use the name, but it's
Mm.
literally Mexican Goth
Yeah.
it puts together the, like, Mexican traditions with the traditional genre conventions of a Gothic story, and
The
seeing
back
those
here
2
says it's Lovecraft meets Brontes in Latin America.
Yes. Yeah, like that Latin influence with that
Mhm.
true, like, gothic undertone. It is such an interesting read. It kind of reminded me of, like, what like a New Orleans sorta thing,
Ooh,
like a
yeah,
little
yeah.
voodoo-y.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it.
I'm excited.
It may
I've
be a good fall read at this point. I say just
I've
wait.
been meaning to read it every fall since you gave it to me. But maybe this is the year. I absolutely want to pick it up, but it's just one of those situations where a lot of these books on here I've wanted to read, but we're always trying to read like the newest thing for the podcast or
Yes.
whatever book club gives us, or then like there'll be something that one of us is super excited about. So we'll have to pick that up.
And we have to
And so
put
it's
things
just
off
one
to the
that keeps
side,
getting like pushed to the side. Okay.
which I believe the one you're about to tell me has been mine pushed to the side for
You
years, but
you're pushing it to the bottom of your list. I
always.
was going to give you Cersei because Cersei was my favorite read from last year besides One Dark Window. It is so beautiful. But I feel like I've already sold you on Cersei.
Yeah, it's right
I feel
there.
like
I
there's
got
nothing
it.
more I can do to convince you to read Cersei. I think you're just going to pick it up when you need it. because it's
Yes,
one of those books that, like, is so meaningful that, like, the universe knows when you need it, and you're gonna get it then.
I believe that.
What I don't think you're gonna pick up on your own, and I want you to read
I do
if
too.
just to see your reaction. I don't know if you're gonna like it or not. Let's start there. But I want you to read Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the easiest Brandon Sanderson book to read. Besides, we've both read Tress of the Emerald Sea, but that
Yeah,
doesn't really count
it's not in
because
that
that wasn't
category.
like epic fantasy.
Yeah,
That wasn't his normal writing style. That was Princess Bride spiff that he wrote for his wife. Okay, we're not counting Tress of the Emerald Sea. Mistborn, however, is the book that the girlies picked up so much this year that it hit USA Today's best-selling list, which is something it never did since it was published. Like it just hit for the first time. Insane that people are buying that much because Brandon Sanderson is like the king of fantasy.
yeah,
He's the number one author of our time right now in fantasy. Like Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros might have their thrones in romantasy, but in the actual like
fantasy.
fantasy genre,
Yeah, he's our Tolkien.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Mistborn follows our main girl, Vin. Okay. She is a street urchin. She grew up on the streets, poor as fuck, in thieving gangs. In this world, okay, there's multiple ways that like Brandon Sanderson pitches it. But imagine you're in the land of Harry Potter, and at the end of Harry Potter, instead of Harry winning, Voldemort won. At the end of Harry Potter, he killed Harry, and Harry didn't come back, and Voldemort won. And then for like 1,000 years, everyone's been living under the Dark One's rule. So this setting is so grimdark and like gothic. And it's this like city that's black with pointed like architecture and stained glass windows. And it's inspired based off of like the French, like when the French were like really Frenching, you know what I mean? Around like the Sun King's time.
yeah.
That's what it's built off of, like, money and wealth, and then the poorest motherfuckers holding up that society. And so Vin is in a thieving gang, and the magic system of this world, because Brandon Sanderson has very unique magic systems, is metal based, and basically people have the ability to, like, push metal, pull metal, or use metal to like affect people's emotions and stuff like that. And basically, you can be a divergent character, which is called Mistborn, and that's when you get to have all of the fun metal magic powers. So of course, our girl Vin has all the fun metal magic powers, and that's where she gets on this like My Lady Jane arc. No, not
Yeah.
My Lady Jane, the other one, the one it's supposed to be inspired on, but Jane Eyre arc where she gets picked up by this thieving gang to rob the Lord Ruler. Her job is to rob their king, their god.
They're evil.
Yes, for all he's worth. And she gets trained in her magic along the way. There's a romance subplot. This book is so good, but what I gotta say, it's like a fantasy heist. My favorite thing is I just finished this trilogy, and we start at like fantasy heist. We end with the most shocking finale that I've ever read before. Like, I'm still shook to my core that Brandon Sanderson, like, sometimes I talk a lot about like romantasy authors where I feel like they like soften their blows and they
Yeah.
pull back on their stops and they don't let the book go as cool and interesting as it possibly could. Not this book. Not this book. It fucks with your head.
Okay, so let's do this. We are on our last category. We will zoom through these for you
Yes.
guys because 9 times out of 10, I believe you guys have already read these because I don't know, I feel like we're pretty, I don't know, like we keep up with the times these days.
Yeah.
So usually what's popular with the community, you guys have already like already read that. So we'll
Yes.
take your recommendations at the bottom of this video now.
To wrap up this video, our last 5 books, we want to recommend what you should be reading this 2025. What we think we want to share the love, and a lot of these were our top reads of 2024. Kicking it off with, of course, we've mentioned it like 8 times already in this video.
Yeah, duh. Are you stupid?
One Dark
This
Window.
was our hardcover pick of last year.
Yes. Yes, official
This was number
top
1.
book of the year.
Yeah.
Gothic fantasy, unique magic system, beautiful prose.
I mean, look at that cover. I
She's
would I
stunning.
would I would kill someone for that cover. Um, this yes, we talked about what's it called? The Night in the Moth.
Night in the Moth at
Um,
the beginning.
I don't think we really have to go into much plot details on these books. I just need you to know that this magic system is one of a kind. This
Yeah.
storytelling is one of a kind, and it's a gothic story, but it doesn't feel so. I know it's one dark window. This is like ironic. It doesn't feel so dark where it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like honestly, like even Mexican gothic that I was talking about, like that feels darker than one dark
Yeah, it's
window.
more like whimsy dark, if you're saying like
Yeah.
it's like vibey where like there's a lot of fog and cobblestone streets and a monster in her
Head,
head.
yes, and that is all you need to know. Number
You should
okay, so
already be
our
sold.
that is all you need to know. There's a monster in that fucking head of hers. Okay, so
Mhm.
number 2, Aubrey.
Okay, let's just say you joined Book Talk recently
Yes,
and
you're
you've
new.
read a lot of these other books we've been talking about. Maybe you haven't read the best Shadowhunter book out there, The Infernal Devices, starting with Clockwork Angel.
Yes. I
Guys,
can attest to this. This trilogy is the best.
it's so beautiful. It's like heartbreakingly beautiful. We follow our main girl, Tessa, and she is an American. This is a period piece. In
Mhm.
the 1800s. And she travels to London to find her brother after her aunt dies. Well, instead, she is kidnapped and experimented on because nobody knows where she is in the new shadow world, the magic world. We are a world where there's shadow hunters who are demon slayers. There's demons, there's warlocks, there's fae or fairies, there's vampires, and there's werewolves. And she gets launched into this world because no one knows what the fuck she is.
Yeah. You know what? This is we were
Yeah.
talking before with Quicksilver. Like she took all of the typical genre conventions of
Yeah.
romantic or fantasy and like has them but this is like the source material.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
the source material. And so yeah, like go back and respect the classics. That's all I have to
Mhm.
say. But
The love triangle is so
yes,
beautiful. And real quick,
it's so
if
good.
you haven't seen the new LitJoy covers coming out, they're
Awesome.
gorgeous.
They
They're
are.
so beautiful. I have it marked in my calendar of when I can try to buy them.
I
So,
saw them and thought of you right away. I'm like, she already knows. She already knows.
yes.
Okay, our next one. Speaking of R.F. Kuang, like these authors are just sticking around. We have Yellowface.
When
This
they're
was
good, they're good.
surprisingly a book club book actually this year. We did not read this, but this was voted on for our book club, and it was I think everyone's favorite last year. Like
Yeah.
this and
At least it
Wayward were
was
like
mine.
neck
It
for
was sat on
neck.
my TBR for so long too
I know,
beforehand.
guys. If you've not read Yellowface yet, what are you doing? This is a dark satire on the
Yes.
publishing industry and
Yes.
a crazy chain of events that happen for this author. For us to go into a plot summary on a short book like this, we would just tell you the whole book, and I don't want to do that. But that's all you have to know. And
Yeah.
the balls R.F. Kuang has writing a book and including the things she did in this, and then having it traditionally published by the publishing
Mhm.
industry is wild. Also, you've seen this cover before. You can't
Yes.
miss it. It looks so cool on a bookshelf. So definitely read Yellowface. Especially if you've read Poppy War or Babel, or you're looking forward
Mhm.
to her new book. You might as well read one of her contemporary.
Yeah, it's so good. And like the main character is literally yellow facing.
Yeah, like it's and it's short.
It's
It's like
I
to
love the
add.
cover. No, it's addicting. It literally was a book that I was like, I don't
You
want to
can't
put
put
this
down.
down. It's
You'll
so
finish it
good.
in a day if you wanted to. It's
Yes.
such a quick read.
Continuing with our yellow
Oh yeah.
contemporary covers, we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This was a Peyton pick from earlier this summer
It is
where
rare I
it was,
pop off with a book like this. Like it is
yeah,
rare, and I was going out on a ledge.
yeah, picked it up and then I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to the beach. I guess I like should read a contemporary at the beach. Picked it up. This slaps.
This
Five
is
star.
if I was 17 again, like I
Oh,
would dude, favorite book.
mhm.
As
Yes.
someone in my 20s, I feel kind of like wrong for crushing on the main character so much. I'm like, He's
I
18
just
in this book, I
recommended it to
think,
my
so it's fair.
mom, and I was like, "So, they are in high school, but"
He is the best book boyfriend I've ever read. I'm like, "Wes?" Like, I'm obsessed with the male love interest. And the woman,
Yeah.
our main character Liz, she is quirky and uniquely herself, and
Yep,
I just
very
think we don't see
Jess
that. We don't see
from
that a
New
lot in
Girl.
books anymore. And Lynn Painter's good at being the main character's always like, I dress weird and I don't fucking care what you think. And I think that's really cool because when growing up when I was reading books, it was like, oh, you don't fit the stereotype, you're not the main character.
Yeah,
So I thought that was really cool. And if you love Taylor
very
Swift, you'll
cute
love Lynn
romance.
Painter.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. To
I'm
wrap up our
yeah.
picks is one that you must have picked up. But if you haven't, everyone in the world has probably already been trying to sell you on it, but we can't not include it,
We can't.
especially with the latest book just coming out.
Yes. Fourth Wing. I'm not, mine's all the way on my top shelf. I'm not grabbing it. But I have like 3 editions of every one of the Empyrean series so far. If you
Yes.
haven't read Fourth Wing yet, what are you doing? I'm pretty sure you have because
That's a personal choice.
yeah, that's like I feel like Fourth Wing when it first came out was like, "Oh my god, have you heard about this book? No one's reading it." And
Yeah.
now it's like, ugh. It's like how ACOTAR is. Now all the
Yeah.
boyfriends know like, "Oh, you're reading that smutty ACOTAR book." Like, no, like we read it when it was like cool.
Yeah, like the
And like no
Vulture
one knew about it.
article coming out and being like, Rebecca Yarros, the mother of dragon smut. I'm like, excuse
No.
me, I don't see anyone calling Game of Thrones dragon smut, but
Yeah.
he also has on the page sex scenes, so
That really pisses me off because like George R. R. Martin can write like as many like incestuous sex scenes he wants in Game of
mhm.
Thrones. But the minute there's a ounce of smut in a woman written book like Rebecca Yarros's Fourth Wing, it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, you read smut? I'm like, I'm sorry, did you just watch the 8 seasons of Game of
Yeah,
Thrones on
with tits
HBO
out
Max?
every
Um,
episode.
I'm pretty
Ugh.
sure that like, there's some incest shit going on in those. Anyways, off our soapbox there for a second.
Yeah.
Fourth Wing, I don't it's a dragon college and it's very high stakes and
It's giving Divergent,
it's giving
talking about
Divergent.
our YA, truths.
The first we've read there's as of right now, it's plotted to be 5 books.
Yeah.
Right now the first 3 are out. The first one will never be touched. Do not
The
foresee 4 or 5
pacing.
in the series ever touching number 1. Number 1, I
Mm-mm.
would say read number 1 and then stop if you really don't want to read the series, but you have to read the first book. It is so good. The second
Yeah.
one, wasn't that great. The third one though, we really liked.
Yeah.
So I think it's a well worth series. I've heard some mixed reviews on it.
Like all
Um,
things.
but
She was
I don't
definitely pressured by her publishers in the beginning, and
yeah.
there was a lot of mistakes in book number 2.
Yes, there was.
But I'm someone who I don't care about mistakes.
No, I'm like,
Like,
I'm
little
here for the
grammatical
story.
mistakes, a lot of times, like, I couldn't even point them out to you, and I have a creative writing degree,
Yeah.
so
So talk to us about some other authors. I don't know, but we love Rebecca Yarros. We
Delay,
will
I
continue to
noticed.
read this series. Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
could
sorry.
go off on some other. It, like the Bechtel test. Like the Bechtel test is like how long can you go without mentioning a man or like
Yeah.
relating. Like ours is what episode of the hardcover podcast can we go without mentioning JLA?
Without slandering that woman, I'm not sorry.
I, I'm like partially like get that woman's name out of your mouth constantly, but I'm like, but you put it there. Be a better writer. We'll stop talking about you, JLA.
You played us too
You
hard.
played us. Anyways,
Anyways, yes.
so those are our 25 for 25. I believe I added one more, so you got 26 for 25. Um,
That's why the video is an hour and a half long.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, we'll cut this baby down for you guys. Do not worry.
it.
Well, if you have any recommendations for us, please, 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 as
Yes.
Sabrina Carpenter would say, put them down below. I would love some Rex. And like even if they were like we gave you some like 2015 Rex in
Yeah,
this
we'll go
episode today.
back.
So like go back, girl. Like go back, put it down there. We're excited to see. As always, like and subscribe. We have memberships available now. It helps us out more than you know. We are growing.
Yes.
There's almost 2,000 of you, which is wild.
Wild.
Because this time last year that was not the case.
No.
So we love you so
This time
much.
last year, Peyton was upping her reading goal because we hit like 300 followers.
300 subscribers. Yeah. It's like, oh,
So
we 300 subscribers. I have to read 40 books now. I'm not doing that again. So unless we hit a million
a
but in
million.
2 weeks,
What about
we are not.
5,000? What if we hit 5,000? How high can we make your
If we would hit, because it's not going to happen, if
Mhm.
we would hit 5,000 subscribers
Okay.
by March, I
No.
would.
In like 2 weeks. In 2025,
Oh, in 2025.
5,000 followers.
Okay, 5,000 followers in 2025. Next year, I'll up my reading goal to 60 books.
6 wow, you meet me.
Yeah, that's 20 more books than I have right now.
That was insane. I was hoping for 45, but
I'll do
you're
60.
already you're stuck.
I'll become a romance reader full time.
Yeah, honestly. All right, y'all.
Anyways,
Thank you so much for joining us and happy reading.